Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit or Zabi here, back again with My Hero Academia Season 5. We are on episode 13, and officially, Bakugo and Todoroki have their provisional hero licenses, and within half an hour of getting them, they made really good use of them by capturing these criminals, one of which had the power to control like carbonation, things like that. I mean, the size of like this tidal wave that he was essentially riding through the streets, kind of, I mean, to me, a quirk of that kind of magnitude you would expect to be involved in, like, not petty crime, like trying to just steal, purses and everything like that. But it turns out that that's what they were doing, and Bakugo and Todoroki made short work of them, which was a really cool scene. Nice to see. Also, we had the talk with Deku, All Might, and Bakugo about Black Whip and everything like that. Seemingly, some kind of crossover with All For One, of course, as you would expect. But we don't know the ins and outs of what has, triggered the whole thing. I mean, I know that we've had that sort of thing with the the singularity point and everything like that, and like this is something that was always going to happen. But it's going to be interesting to see going forward what the actual trigger was. But All For One is feeling the kind of effects of this as well. So, it's going to be interesting to see if in this episode we actually go back to All For One to see, because things are happening with him at the moment. Like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but we did go to a scene with him a couple or a few episodes back where he was, he said that he can actually, like, kind of sense his brother again, or something like that. He's hearing his brother, so it's I can't see it being long before there is a potential breakout with him. So we will see with that. More on Monoma and how his quirk works, which is really interesting to know about. It's like stockpile quirks. Those are the blanks, and everything. And obviously trying to copy Eri's power, which would have been great, but unfortunately that is not to be. Shinsu will join the hero course in the second year, so we've got a bit to wait until then, I imagine. I don't know how quick we're going to be, coming up to the end of the year. I mean, I've already talked about how I think in Japan, it's not that long from the time that which we're in the show that the second year will be coming, I think because they end their school year earlier than what they do over here. So yeah, it's not that far away. I mean, after all, this episode that I'm about to watch now is apparently Christmas time, so I'm sure it's coming up anyway. And other than that, there was obviously one thing that I did not notice during the reaction, because it was like kind of like over a 2-second period of just like it was there and then it was gone, was the sort of like the news outlet that was on the TV in the dorm, and they talked about something called Detnerat, or Detnerat, which is entering the hero support industry. So I feel like you don't just throw that in there as just like a, if it's not going to mean anything. There's definitely something with that there. I just found it interesting that appeared, and then in the next scene over, you have Bakugo and Todoroki going up against a guy who's using support items that ended up being kind of faulty, or the quality wasn't as good, and they broke down and got them from the black market. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's any sort of black market sort of connection with whatever this Detnerat thing is. Someone in the comments below did actually point out Jiran or whatever his name was. I do remember that guy. What I was talking about last episode was actually in terms of who of the League of Villains was using support items, and I think I can only recall the murderous schoolgirl chick actually using support items. The other ones I can't remember if they did. I don't think so. But yes, I do remember that guy, so I will be obviously keeping an eye out for him. And whatever this Detnerat thing is, it's obviously going to play into some part of the story, I'd imagine. So yeah, we will see what goes on with that. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. Of course, there's the whole thing, me thinking that Shimura's predecessor was actually the bald guy. Turns out it's actually the little one with black hair, the young one. So That's an interesting thing to note as well, and I can't wait until we get into more of that. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about, so we're going to get in episode 13 and see what we get. So yes, as always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but if for whatever reason it gets taken down for copyright in the future, I will re-upload this as a discussion only, and the reaction will be in the description below. As always, the reaction to the full length is in the description below as well, so if you do want to watch my full length reaction, then yeah, there's an offer there for you. But anyway, yes, nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get in episode 13, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go.
A tragedy occurred in Deka City.
Deka City. I don't think we've been there before, have we?
To us, it was merely the prologue of a greater cataclysm.
It's like an earthquake. Jesus, that's some power. Jesus Christ! Yeah, that's interesting. So,
pro-level work mere minutes after earning provisional licenses. This morning we welcomed 2 students from UA, young heroes who recently took down some rampaging villains. You must have bonded during your training, given how well you worked together, huh?
Does it look that way to you? You better get your eyes and head checked out soon then.
That's right, we're friends.
Huh? Where the hell do you get off making up random crap like that, you icy hot idiot?
You must have bonded during your training, given how well you worked together, huh?
That's right, we're friends.
It must have been frightening.
No, not frightening.
They were interviewed for an entire hour, but all Bakugo's answers were trashed! An angry blip in the corner. My team cut me out!
Honestly, they
Yeah.
kind of did a big favor.
It's my sincere hope that they're able to work as actual pros in the near future. We must not have a repeat of what happened in Deka City, when a riot of only 20 people destroyed the city in scarcely less than an hour.
It's foolish to blame the heroes of Deka for this event. In my opinion, the whole system needs to be reformed.
Let's ask our commentator KuraiShisu what he has to say.
In the past, if there was an incident with this many
Bloody hell.
casualties, everyone would be blaming the heroes for their ineptitude in the field.
Not so fast, kids. It may look like there's a renewed love of heroes, but think about why. The world's on fire and everyone's scared. Our job's been more about celebrity in past years. Now the world wants to see real heroes again.
That lady has dropped in as a guest instructor. She'll teach you how to deal with publicity.
okay.
What publicity? I keep getting caught!
Maybe you'll do better after training.
Today's lesson
Yeah,
is
Mom.
Media 101, taught by an active pro, an obscenely gorgeous hot commodity named me. You'll all be practicing hero interviews.
Yay!
Shoto, my dear, you first. Tell us, Shoto, what kind
He's
of
too
hero would you
sincere.
want to be?
Well, I guess a hero who makes people feel safer.
If a handsome boy like you showed up to save me, I'm afraid my heart would go into overdrive.
Oh, do you have heart problems?
So dense, but cute. He's just my type.
Heaven-piercing ice wall. I can use it to cover a wide area and to stop
Heaven
villains.
piercing?
Plus,
That's what he's
it can be
calling
used
it?
as a platform.
That's why I thought it was interesting that that he's working on Flash Freeze.
I'm nowhere near his level.
And if you want people to feel safe, I'd recommend smiling at least once. You flash those pearly whites and the ladies will drop dead, you feel me?
If I smile, then they'll die?
Moving on!
Yeah, too sincere, man.
Your ultimate moves are like your personal calling cards. People won't forget you if you show off your assets. Those moves help people learn to trust you with their lives.
Gotta use your big personality
We
and
don't
your
yell
rep.
out the names of our attacks just because it sounds cool. Now then,
Gotta look
let's
good.
keep the interviews coming, shall we?
I chose my hero name because it was my brother's, and I want to live up to the honor and passion he embodied as Ingenium.
You're oozing with sincerity.
Hi there, I'm a Ravity. My quirk is zero gravity, and when I'm around, your problems and fears are weightless.
Aw, everyone
Nice.
loves a gentle hero.
I'm Red Riot, the sturdy hero. I'm an impenetrable wall of protection.
I'm playing up to
You
it.
say
and
so, boss.
I'm not gonna say stupid stuff like that! Shut your trap and trust me!
You're just as bad in an interview by yourself, huh?
I go just want to speak with actions, not
To teach
words.
Bakugo to follow your lead and avoid the media entirely.
Oh,
What a treat.
God.
I saw you in action.
I'm glad. Really glad.
I'm sure we'd all love to know what was going through your head.
I'm still glad.
Holy crap, when did he learn how to use my quirk?
He's just so good. Many viewers have noted that your moves
Sorry.
seem to be based on All Might's patent to combat.
But I didn't want to just copy All Might, so I tried to customize my moves so they feel unique to me while also being true homages to him. And recently I've incorporated part of that move into some other things I'm working on to create
So
Delaware Smash
chatty.
Air Force.
I meant to ask you about his power that went out of control. Is he okay?
That quirk isn't just about strength.
Then he could visualize unlocking a door to get it out,
In the
but
2 weeks since the new power appeared, I've been visualizing it every day. I put a lock on it, but it's still there. And if I'm the one who imprisoned it, I can choose when to use it and when not to. The same way I train to control a percentage of one for all. I'll concentrate and only use the amount of Black Whip that I can manage safely at this time.
I didn't think he would be able to pull it out this soon, but it's not coming out, is it? Oh shit! Oh god! Oh, that is terrible. That is terrible.
Don't be happy about something so weak.
It's bad for your coat if you don't get rest.
No, I'm sleeping fine. No need to be concerned.
It looks like you've chosen Gaunt as your new hero name.
There's not much recorded from the early days, so...
Very soon, we'll restart the work studies program.
Hero work studies? Really?
Resuming the work studies program this quickly? Don't you have a chair somewhere?
But it's so much warmer to be snuggled inside your binding cloths. The original Public Safety Commission is now requesting that all Hero Corps students get in-the-field training again.
Does this say we're somehow shorthanded when it comes to pros? I thought there was an oversaturation of us.
So they're relying on students to fill in.
To deal with the recent increase in villainous organizations.
The League must be involved. It's obvious. They're beating around the bush here.
The Commission must have intelligence that another crisis might be in the pipeline. They're either hiding what they're doing or protecting sources of information. As Kayama said, them telling us to restart the work studies feels like a mandate instead of a suggestion from the Commission.
I don't like it. This is unethical.
Yeah,
Whatever the case,
it's a bit
any
fucked,
hero
isn't it?
will find themselves in danger regularly. Let's try our best to place the kids in agencies with good track records. And Aizawa, concerning the Commissioner's other program.
About that
It's
program.
been 4 months since UA moved the kids into the dorms. No one seems suspicious.
You don't think there's a spy for the League of Villains among the students?
If the League acts in the future and we spot no connection, then I'd say it's a fair assumption to make.
They're still going on about that.
I agree.
Interesting how they're bringing it up again, though. I don't know.
By the way, are you coming back today?
We're pretty busy here, so
thought
I'm
we're
not
past
certain.
that.
Why, did something happen with young Midoriya? Merry Christmas, everyone!
Must be stress if they can't remember it's Christmas. Of course, Pago didn't want to dress up. Also, did you know Ravity float that book he was reading?
We are.
Oh no, it was on the back of the hat. They've all got customized hats.
Going back to the Night Eye Agency?
Apologies, Midoriya. I'm ashamed to say this, but right now we don't really have time to take anyone on.
I did my internship with Gran Torino, but he's also busy, so right now I'm stuck in limbo. Well, this round is mandatory, so there's no need to worry. The school will find a place for me.
Still, it's gotta feel weird. You going back to Genus Bakugo?
I haven't decided yet.
There's some respect
You're not
there.
choosing a hero name?
They were all rejected!
Let's hear them.
Lord Explosion Murder.
King Explosion, Lord Explosion, Explosion Murder!
You're such a child. Your hero name is a wish. How you want to be. I want to show you the outside. The world that needs you. When you become a second year and get your provisional license, come back here. I'll ask you for your chosen name again.
Nice.
Sorry we're late.
He's a good cook.
Have you started the party already?
He's got to join it.
Trick or treat?
Trick or treat.
Wrong holiday.
In sickness and in health.
No, you're even further away now. Enjoy yourself. Go on.
Here, take these eggs I painted. That's Easter, but thanks.
Just get them all wrong.
Her horn. Looks like it's gotten bigger.
Her attitude has remained positive. She's taking what you said to heart.
They just simply make this for this song for this. I guess they're who's he orchestrating? Yeah, they're probably getting the happy stuff out of the way before it kicks off, right? Whoa, dude! That's like a buster sword. That's sick. I hope he somehow makes use of that. How was he not managed to come away with some gold bullion? Madness.
All I could think was, I hope we can have a fun Christmas party next year, too. Eventually, our thoughts turned back to the issue of where to go for work studies.
Midoriya, Bakugo. If you don't have choices you like, I was thinking, come with me. Do a work study with Endeavor.
Holy fuck!
#1 hero.
No way! Did they all go there? Oh shit! That'll be insane. Okay, episode 13. And we are at Christmas time. Yeah, it does seem like this is the episode of the season that is sort of the kind of like the calm before the storm, or getting the happiness while they can get it. And it's kind of on that sort of path where you feel like it's about to kick off. I mean, I did talk about in the last episode that, you know, they've had the first half of the season, you know, around hero course and the classes and those two going at each other, but it's, you know, when it's just between those two, it's kind of just getting the measure of where everyone is at in their abilities and, you know, the differences between Class 1A and Class 1B. But we haven't had as much, obviously, in the way of villain activity or anything like that. So, you know, it's a case of, I just feel like in this latter half of the season, this is where it comes out, and we you know, we start to see it. I mean, it's already kind of started with this Dacre City kind of thing, which is a place I don't think we've been to before. It doesn't ring a bell anyway, and it got absolutely leveled by, I mean, I wrote down leveled by a villain because we only saw one. However, they did say that apparently there was 20 people involved. So yeah, I mean, we'll get more information on that, I'm sure. There seems to be a possible connection with the League of Villains. At least that's what Snipe said. I mean, it's one of those things that they don't know the ins and outs of, you know, everything that happened there. They know that there's 20 people and they destroyed the city. So it's one of those things that, you know, anything that does happen that is a significant event that's caused by villains, to assume that the League of Villains is somehow involved is kind of one of those things that it's just going to be thrown around anyway, so we don't know truly if the League of Villains are involved. The only connection I could ever really put to that is that the guy looks like Shigaraki, but it's not, though. It just isn't. But he seemed quite mental, whoever this guy was. He was relatively naked. I mean, they're not going to be showing his penis flapping about in the wind, are they? So, I mean, obviously we didn't see that part. I mean, he could be walking around in shorts or boxers for all we know. But generally, he seemed relatively naked, which is interesting to me because it kind of puts in this, like, it makes me wonder where this guy's from. If the League of Villains are involved, it could be like something, like I can imagine it being they broke into some kind of laboratory where these people were being experimented on, possibly, and therefore, like, they've literally just been released into the wild to cause havoc. If there's any connection with the League of Villains, that's what I would assume is the most likely, just based on the fact that this guy's naked, because otherwise why would he be walking around naked? I mean, considering how insane the guy seems, then, I mean, you know, you can't put it past people, I guess, just to be like, well, I don't give a fuck, so I'm just going to wear nothing anyway. But, you know, I feel like in this show there's reasons for mostly everything. You know, there's never really things that just kind of, you know, crop up that don't have reasons for, you know, just being so, you know. So I think it would make sense that this guy and the other 19, I assume, is, you know, he's part of the 20, you know, if they've been broken out of some kind of laboratory where they were being experimented on, it could give an idea, like, you know, a reasoning for why the guy seems a bit mental. So, you know, that's something we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, that is an insane power that he has. I mean, the thing is that the fact that's throwing me is that there was 20, and we only saw one, so I can't be certain that whole like city being destroyed, like some kind of like earthquake power or manipulating the foundations, somehow causing the collapse of the city, is down to one person. I mean, he was the only one that we saw that was, you know, in and around it, and he was already hurt. He was bleeding and stuff. So I feel like he has this, you know, if he was being experimented on and everything like that, you know, there's things like that if you've put up with so much before, in terms of like, you know, let's just throw out a hypothetical there, and he was like tortured or whatever, that, you know, he has some sort of, like, he doesn't mind getting hurt, you could say. There's a bit of possible masochism involved, but like the idea that he's just literally walking through as buildings are like kind of crashing around him means that he doesn't really have much, you know what I mean, like he doesn't really see his life as precious as somebody else, for example. But you know, the idea that he's just kind of just walking through it naked and fine being injured by it and everything and laughing his head off, it just gave me that kind of sense that he must have, like, that he's come from a place where, you know, he was being experimented on or tortured or whatever the case may be, you know. Just gives me that feeling. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's like, it kind of seems that way. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, in regards to that will be, you know, that's the kickoff point of whatever is going ahead with the hero agencies opening back up again. That's kind of where I imagine the story is turning towards. Now that we know that there's a possibility that Todoroki, Deku, and Bakugo are all going to go to Endeavor's agency, it's fantastic. Like, those being in the same agency is really exciting. But I imagine, like, under Endeavor, that is the place where we will be kind of, you know, we're heading towards, is that event and wherever that leads. And if the League of Villains are involved, well, we will find out. I mean, the thing is, like, what you've got to remember as well is like, we haven't had, like, a true sort of face-off between the League of Villains and, you know, Class 1A in a long time. I mean, the real, like, I think the last one was Season 3, right, with the Vanguard Squad. So basically, yeah, it's been about 2 seasons worth since we've had, like, a real face-off between them. Because obviously all of that ended with All Might versus All for One. But then ever since then, it's been, you know, like, Overhaul got in the middle of it and everything like that. So it's one of those things where I wouldn't be surprised if the League of Villains is involved in whatever this Deka City incident actually is. You know, and I mean, we've got to remember that we've got this side plot going on with Hawks and everything like that. Obviously, Endeavor and Hawks, like, they've built some kind of bond there. There's a connection there where Hawks, you know, I mean, he's, you know, he's going to do his own thing and infiltrate the League of Villains. So I imagine, like, when you've got, you know, the 3 main characters of Class 1A going to Endeavor's agency, that, you know, they go to this Deka City incident event and everything like that, and then unravel everything. They learn that the League of Villains is involved, and then you've got this whole thing of, you know, Hawks on the inside, Endeavor on the outside, and what does that look like? Because we know that Endeavor he's not aware of this whole plan with Hawks. Like, that whole thing's kind of under wraps. And the connection that, you know, when you had the teachers in this episode talking about the commission and obviously wanting to reopen the hero agencies and everything like that, that the commission's like, you know, you had the headmaster basically talking about the idea that they're keeping it under wraps, so there has to be something that they're hiding, you know, or something that basically is away from the public eye, or to try and keep something under wraps more. And I feel like, because, you know, they were talking about this kind of like oversaturation of heroes, or like there isn't, you know what I mean, there isn't enough seemingly in the public eye to do much about the villain problem that they've got now. So now it's a case of like relying on students being brought in. I wonder if it's a case of having more, like not even just the case of having more heroes on the streets or anything like that, but also you've got these like new promising heroes that that are going to be excited, and that all of the eyes are going to be on like these new upcoming heroes. And with this sort of episode, some of it like revolving around media and everything like that, like you can tell that that's kind of like what they're like the commission seems to be hoping for, to keep the eye off Hawks in a way, like, because otherwise there would be questions like, with all of this mess going on, where's Hawks gone? Because he's going to be out of the picture in terms of the public eye for a while, because obviously he needs to go infiltrate the League of Villains, right? So I wonder if this is a whole thing of the commission's wanting to get these get the hero agencies open again so that you can get these new upcoming heroes in the public eye, to kind of keep their eye focused on them rather than where's Hawks kind of thing, It's a possibility, it's a theory. If that is the case, then great. But I mean, that's kind of like my theory anyway, that I've got on the reason why they're opening up the hero agencies again. And we'll see. The other interesting thing that they've brought up again, and I don't know why they're doing it. You see, this is the thing. Like when I talk about little sort of things that, like there has to be reasons why things are brought up in episodes. Last episode, it was the Detnerat thing with the being involved with the hero support industry and everything like that. Like that was like just a little snippet of something that was there that has to mean something going forward. But it was a little snippet, like there's a reason for that being there. The other one was the idea that this, whoever this villain is at the beginning of this episode is naked and everything like that. There's a reason why that is, which is why I think he's a lab experiment or something along those lines. And this other thing is, they've brought it up again. So this idea that there is an infiltrator in the school, that there's a possible student and or teacher, whatever, that has kind of infiltrated and is working with the League of Villains. Like, why are they bringing that up again? Because I thought we were way past that now. I remember, like, way back when it was a case of, like, shit, is there somewhat, like, is there an infiltrator in the school that knows where everyone, like, where they know where they are? Because there was that whole thing of, like, well, how did they know that they were at the, that training ground in season 1 and everything like that, There was certain things that didn't add up without somebody having to go in and find out the information that they did, so they would know where All Might would show up and everything like that, right? So I thought we were way past that. It was a theory way back then, and it was like, yeah, there possibly is, and I would keep an eye out just to see if there was any kind of behavior that would that would jump out at me, and I would be like, okay, that's a bit strange, possibly, and that and then it would turn to, like, one of the teachers possibly and everything like that. And it was, there was an interesting whole thing of, like, there were a lot of people that were debating, like, who could it possibly be. Like, there were people that were thinking that what's her name, Invisible Girl could have been it, right? Because obviously the nature of her quirk and everything. A lot of people seem to think that Monoma could be. And the fact that they're bringing it up again is just like one kind of like, I guess it's a case for the detective. I can't remember his name. The detective guy that is, friends with All Might. I mean, having him come in for a little scene to say something that, relates to the kind of work that he does do. I guess it's a way to kind of just like get him involved in the scene, so it could be just a throwaway line in that regard. But the nature of how I react and write stuff down, to theorize and everything like that, a line like that, to bring that back again, just fucking ignites my theory crafting to, like, there must be something about it. There must be. It's not going to be just a fucking throwaway line, is it? Because that's the thing, like, it could be. But that's the annoying thing. Because if it is just a throwaway line, then I'm spending all this energy and time talking about something that doesn't matter. But then, if I don't talk about it, it'll annoy me. So, so it's just one of those things, man. Why would you bring it back up again? I don't know. I mean, the headmaster came around with, like, you know, a way to kind of nip it in the bud and basically say, like, well, it's, you know, it's safe to assume based on, you know, the League of Villains movements and everything like that. It's safe to assume that there isn't one. But then there's also that possibility. Like, so you're telling me there's a chance? That's what it is. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see going forward. I've talked about it now, so, you know, if it does happen, at least I did talk about it. Yeah, so again, like a lot of the media training, we did that whole thing in this episode as well. It's interesting that, like, when you're talking about, you know, the I guess what you would consider the top three in the class, which is obviously Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki, right? Those are the main three. Those are the ones that have trouble with the media, whereas every single other in the class has that, like, kind of nailed down pat. I feel like, I mean, that's the thing about, and I don't know if this is just a, I don't know if this is just because of being more of an offshoot of the main three being a bit more layered in terms of their sort of personalities and, like, their goals, because they are the main three, which is why, you know, it's a bit tougher for them to get over the whole media thing, the whole media side of it. Whereas the other characters in Class 1A tend to be a bit more straightforward. I mean, I know that you've had times where, you know, you've opened up extra layers to other characters like Kirishima, like Ida, you know, Uraraka and everything, but I wonder if it's because they're more laid on, like, it's a bit easier for them to just basically be themselves. Because, I mean, when they were doing, like, their practice interview and everything like that, I mean, that's all they were doing. They were just essentially being themselves and just turning it up to an 11, essentially, is what they were doing. You know, there was nothing, like, out of the ordinary there where you would be like, hold on a second, like, that's, you know, you're not being yourself there, kind of. Like, there was none of that. But it is interesting that they do have this kind of, you know, because, I mean, this is the thing with it being, you know, an academy, essentially. I remember, like, you know, back in the early seasons, where it was like, you know, you would have these episodes that were focused around training to some degree. And I remember being like, well, we're not really going to say anything other than fight and rescue. And that's pretty much it, you know? But these other facets that they're bringing in that we get to see of a different side of, you know, the hero sort of work, which comes along with it, is media and perception from, you know, the general public and everything like that, and how that helps on a bigger picture than you would actually realize. So, you know, the idea that you kind of almost have to build up your reputation to the general public, because it works in a hell of a lot of different ways, depending on, you know, how well they are liked by the general public or anything, is all based upon, like, you know, things that they have, you know, they've said. Like, you know, All Might was kind of known for these, like, almost kind of like, you know, I mean, he has his own way of doing things, and, you know, he has these kind of, like, I guess, he doesn't really go for sound bites though, does he? But I guess just because, based upon the fact of he ends up being this sort of pillar for, you know, for humanity in a way, that, you know, like, it serves to keep the general public feeling like they are safe, whereas taunting the villains in a way that they don't want to cause crime. You know what I mean? So a lot of that does actually end up being important, even though, you know, you might have some, you know, heroes that don't see it as that good of an idea. I mean, Aizawa, for example, is one that keeps out of, you know, he doesn't like the media and everything like that. He tends to do things sort of his own way and everything. But it's an interesting one to get the you know, this kind of media class, and obviously getting Mount Lady in, which we know, like, generally a lot of the time, like, we've seen her being interviewed a lot. So, you know, to have her be brought in is perfect. And we got a look at sort of, I guess, some of the general public that were actually on the like on the news and everything like that, and we actually were brought up a hero critic. So there are just like critics that that's almost like their line of work is to critique heroes. Almost like it's like critique, like, you know, movie critics or anything like that. Like you just have these critics for heroes to basically downplay everything that they do. It's almost like Jameson from the Spider-Man like world and everything like that. Like everything that Spider-Man does, it's like there's always some, you know, negative to be taken out of it, which like that it kind of sucks in a way, because that way you always have, you know, like, I guess there's always going to be that opposite now, that no matter what these heroes put out in their interview to, you know, to basically, you know, help the general public feel safe and happy and everything like that with the work that they have been doing, you have this opposite side of you know, hero critics that basically downplay anything that they're doing, you know, to basically undo anything that they've done right, which sucks. And I bet you any money there are, like, you know, there's a specific like group of people that, you know, are like back hero critics totally. So yeah, and also like in terms of the interviews that, you know, they were doing in training, Mount Lady specifically said that, like, what, you know, you show off your, you know, your ultimate move as a way to, like, you know, again, it's another way of kind of deterring villains in a way, but leaving a sense of awe for the, you know, the general civilian. But yeah, so Deku got his out. Black Whip did actually return, not in a way that I thought. I mean, I thought for like it felt a bit too early to even like to be able to bring it back, because I feel like it wasn't that long. Like I mean, it wasn't. It was literally 2 episodes ago when he locked it away. So I thought it would be a case of like, we're only going to see this when it becomes like a bad situation, which is kind of like what Bakugo was saying last episode about how, like, you know, it seems as though the only way you're going to pull this out is if you're in real danger. So he was Bakugo was trying to get that out of him so that he could use it and learn to harness it properly. But that didn't end up being the case, and Deku was able to unlock it. He does have this visualization that he needs to really kind of unlock a door to access it. And he could sort of have some merit of control of how much he can actually release. And it was terrible. I mean, see, that's the thing, is like, it's an incredible feat to us who know the ins and outs of what it is and everything. But to, like, everyone else's eyes, that's terrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to the other characters on the show, like, who don't know, it's like, it's just a little bit, like a little string essentially that came out. But the fact that he can access it that quickly is like obviously incredible. I didn't think it would return this early, but it has. So yeah. The headmaster came in to talk to All Might, who made a joke, and I'm guessing it's a joke and not true, because if it is, that is ridiculous. That his new hero name's Gaunt. It must be a joke, because I mean, well, of course it makes sense. Like, because he's not sleeping and everything like that. I mean, he looks famished anyway, like he always has done in that form that he's in. But, like, you know, the idea that he's staying awake and everything like that, leaving notes from Midoriya and everything, you know, to call his new hero named Gaunt, because, you know, like, he's looking, you know, tired and famished and whatever the case. It makes sense that it's a joke. So yeah, nice one. I think the thing that was obviously so great about it is the fact that the headmaster didn't he didn't giggle after it or anything like that, or laugh. So, you know, it was played like perfectly cool, a proper cool joke, really, really well done. But yeah, so All Might is leaving notes regarding the earlier days of One for All and everything, and the, you know, the previous quirks of these holders, which is nice, but in a way I'm scared, because it's like with these like lasting notes that we don't know when Deku's going to get a hold of, it makes me scared for All Might. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I've always had this like. I've always had this kind of like this lingering kind of feeling, this lingering fear that like All Might eventually will die. Like for the sake of the story. And like bolster the villains to a degree that like, you know, like once that happens, that is an event that changes everything. Like, you know, like you can see that at that moment, that's when the villains are kind of at their peak. You know, and I feel like with these kind of little things that All Might's leaving behind, that they can work when, you know, that like when All Might is no longer here to actually tell it to Deku, that now he's got these notes to go by, you know. So it's a feeling that I'm unsure about, but we'll see. So yeah, I mean, other than that, interestingly, the headmaster talked to Aizawa and said, you know, something about an other program, and we got nothing else in this episode regarding that. So that's it. I mean, if it literally just said other program and not commissions other program, I would have assumed that it was just a thing like to talk about Eri getting her to the, you know, the Christmas party or whatever. But the fact that it said that the commission's other program possibly makes me think that they're talking about Hawks, I suppose, I guess. But other than that, I've got nothing else to go on in regards to that. So yeah. Yeah, so with the agencies opened up, they're all going back to, like, you know, their previous ones and everything like that. Deku did seek out, obviously, the Night Eye agency, with Centipede now has taken over as the head of that. But yeah, they don't have any room for Deku in that, so obviously that goes to, you know, Todoroki to ask Bakugo and Deku to go to Endeavor's agency, which that would be amazing. I hope that is the case. But there is an interesting bit with Bakugo in this episode where he has this like more kind of serious thing with, you know, the Best Genus agency, something that we didn't see before previously, which was the whole thing with his, you know, his hero name and everything. And I wonder if that's, I mean, it's obviously on Bakugo's mind. Best Genus, that, like, you know, talked about the idea of, like, it's more like a wish to what you aspire to be, as opposed to what, like, you know, what Bakugo was doing and being like, no, I'm just Lord Explosion Murder, you know. So that's going to be interesting. I remember Ground Zero being one that, you know, people were throwing out there, like, way back when I first started, like, reacting to this show, which is a really, really good one, I feel. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, like, how much that actually plays on Bakugo's mind and whether or not he's going to come up with one by the end of this season or not. I feel like the idea that Bakugo was thinking seriously about possibly going back to Best Genus' agency makes me think that the hero name and that agency kind of go hand in hand. So the idea, if he does go to Endeavor's, I feel like I feel like Bakugo's hero name's kind of going to be pushed to one side, you know, until there is some kind of, you know, until Bakugo and Best Genus essentially, you know, meet up again. Then it'll be, you know, said. But you know, I don't know. Airy claws, cute. Horns growing. So I wonder if that is, like, the thing is with a horn, right? I mean, it does grow over time regardless, but it seems as though, depending on how, like, what's the correct terminology here? Like, depending on how she's being nurtured, could affect that. Seemingly is what it's saying. I mean, Aizawa was there to say that, you know, she's taken your words seriously when he's talking to Deku, obviously. You know, and I wonder if just that, you know, that remaining positive and taking those words on board is accelerating the horn growth. It feels like it is. But it could just be passage of time. It could just be that. But it feels as though, because obviously Deku has said that it has possibly accelerated it. So yeah, they were all exchanging presents. And the thing is like, I think in Japan, Christmas for them, they kind of do it differently in regards to presents. I think it's more a case of like, I don't know how many different countries like around the world do like something called a Secret Santa thing, where it's essentially like everyone buys a present, and then it's more or less kind of random as to who gets the present. So you might end up with something that you have no use for, you know. But like, I think that's the way Japan does it. Like when exchanging presents, I don't think it's a case of like you specifically buy a present for a specific person. I mean, I suppose they can do that if they want to, but I'm sure I've seen another show before where they did it the same way, where everyone just bought a present and then like some random person would get that present, because the whole thing with the Buster Sword, which was cool by the way, but the fact that Eri got it, I mean, it's funny, but damn was I hoping that Tokoyami was going to get that and actually use it. Like, that would have been just so cool, man. Because it looked sick. It looked amazing. But yeah, I mean, Eri's got it. The fact is, it's so big compared to her. That's funny. But yeah. So, I mean, yeah, other than that, I think I've gone through everything. You know, you have Todoroki, who has actually an actual name for his original move, which was basically to use his ice in a fucking, like, you know, to basically create this massive wall. He calls it the Heaven Piercing Ice Wall. So yeah, he has that name for it now. And yeah, his Flash Freeze Heat Wave. So last episode, I forgot that, like, what the first part of the thing was, and I just called it Heat Wave, but it's Flash Freeze. But I really like that, with it being obviously the opposite. And we know with Todoroki that it's, you know, it's the half cold, half hot thing, right? So it's obviously it's the two opposites colliding, everything. But the idea that obviously Endeavor's move with his Flash Fire Fist, to have Flash Freeze as well, like on the opposite side, is like really cool. And I wonder if at some point, learning Flash Fire Fist, he's able to pull them both off at the same time. That would be insane, man. Can you imagine? I mean, Jesus. That'd be like a superpower, that one. Like, that would be a super move. If that ever comes to fruition, that would be really, really cool. The only thing that you really have to kind of take into account on that, you're going for a double punch then, you know? So I don't know how much of that can be really done, because I mean, the thing is that the way that it's sort of, I don't know, like the way that it's kind of like controlled, it feels like that there's a certain movement that has to be done in order to, you know, to get it to activate in a certain way, you know. And I feel like it's to do with like almost like the technique of which you use it. So you kind of pull it back and you pull like the other side of the body around to almost like shield it from the wind, almost is what it looks like, you know. But if you're going for two, I don't think you can really do that, you know, unless, like, I don't know, you pull some like crazy pose off, you know. But I don't know. I just think it would be cool. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got for this episode. Sorry if I missed anything. If I did, well, you can, you know, let me know down in the comments below. And sometimes when I'm editing, I find something that I missed, and I you know, put a little note in just to let you guys know that I did actually, you know, say it. But yeah, anyway, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. In the description below, I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you don't want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, like early access. That gives you access to shows a week early. There's the full-length tier, which gives you access to all the full-length, all the shows that I do. So if you want to watch any of my reactions in full and not just the cut 10-minute versions, then that is the one there for you. And there is the exclusive tier, which gives you access to full-length movie reactions and everything like that. So of course I'm, you know, doing movies now you know, every so often in between the shows that I do. And I'm doing a movie probably in the next few days. So I don't know what that one is yet. I'm busy getting recommendations now. You know, so if you want me to react to any movie at all, then get your recommendations down in the comments. I will take them on board, and we'll get through them, you know, one at a time. So yeah, anyway, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.